Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Wendy. This is Will's Mountain Homestead and thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to walk you through the steps that I took in being able to grow and preserve a year's worth of one particular crop for my family. Now, it can seem daunting, especially if you are a new gardener. But trust me, once you do it with the first crop, the rest of them will fall right in line and it will be like old hat year after year that this is how many plants you need. This is the route that you need to take in, your preservation methods, and it's going to be old hat to you after the first year or two. So let's jump right in and talk about how to plant 1 year's worth of one crop for your family. The first crop I started to do this with was tomatoes. My family uses them in a lot of different things over the course of a week or a month. And it seemed to me that that's where I was spending a bulk of my money at in the grocery store, especially during the late fall, winter, early spring months. So I knew I wanted to plant an abundance of tomatoes. That first year, I didn't know how many plants to put in the ground for my family to be able to preserve everything that we consumed. So I found good old Google, and they said 12 to 15 plants per person. So I went with that, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And you will find that, now this is all depending on the size of your family too and what you are consuming. But I will say rule of thumb is the more tomato products you eat, plant accordingly to that. Now last year, let's backtrack a little bit. Last year, I planted 80 tomato plants. Now I know that's gonna seem ridiculous to a lot of you. But if you look at it from my perspective, we don't buy ketchup. We don't buy barbecue sauce, salsa, whole tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, diced tomatoes, tomato juice. I can my own chili. I make chili sauce. I do tomato soup. I do vegetable soup with my tomatoes. I take the skins off of my tomatoes whenever I am making just a basic tomato sauce, and I dehydrate them and then turn that into a powder, and that is what I use for tomato paste. I also do spaghetti sauce, that's a big one, and pizza sauce, marinara sauce. I mean, the list just is very extensive. And when you think 80 tomato plants, you're like, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And it is. But once you get to the point where you know how to preserve your food and you can follow the recipes down hat. You know exactly, you can start prepping the night before. You can get things, if you use a roaster, you get things prepared the night before. And then you just start canning as soon as you get up in the morning. And sometimes it does take all day. But when it comes to the winter months, you have all of that fresh food that you've put back, and it's like a labor of love that's sitting in your root cellar on your shelves, and it's just ready to go. And it's amazing how much different it tastes and how much better it is for you than going to the store and purchasing these items off the shelf. To figure out how many jars, lids, and everything that you're going to need, I'm going to give you a very basic example, and then you can apply this to all of the rest of the meals that you can kind of pre-calculate in your head for an entire year. So let's say every Friday night in your house is pizza night. So you make pizza every single Friday night for an entire year. There are 52 weeks in a year. So guess what? That means you need 52 jars of pizza sauce. So if you only make pizza twice a month, you can cut that in half. So that's just a basic rule of thumb as to how many jars you would need to make for that specific product. First, you need to look at how much space you have in your garden. And not everybody's garden is an in-ground garden. You're going to have those of you that have raised beds, or you do pots on your patio. And all of that is wonderful. I think the more that you can grow and save yourself from having to go to the store, the better. And I plant my tomatoes in the ground. I do crop rotation every year. And I do till. I till my garden in. And I know everybody has their own method, and whichever you choose, hey, that's your choice. It's your garden. It's how you plant, and it's how you know what works best for you. So my tomatoes go in the ground, and I like to space them about 2 feet apart. Reason being, they can become susceptible to disease and yellowing of the leaves and blight if they don't get enough airflow around the limbs. And, pruning is very important when it comes to tomatoes. And when you're planting an abundance, like 80 of them, you're going to spend probably a good half hour to 45 minutes, if not longer, every couple of days in the garden, just pruning off the suckers or the limbs that need to be taken off to keep the airflow going in between those plants. So make sure you have enough space. I sat down the other day with my computer and went on Walmart.com and did a Walmart fake grocery pickup, and put in all of the tomato products that I would need for an entire year. And my bill came to over $700. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, the expense of like all the lids that you're going to need and if I spend $100 on lids, I'm still saving myself over $600 in tomato products at the store, not even to mention that there's no pesticides used. It's all, in my sense, I'm not certified organic, but I know that I don't use any chemicals in my garden. And you can't beat that, because whenever I plugged everything in, I went for the great value brands. I didn't even go for organic products. So you can see that there is a tremendous cost savings whenever it comes to planting and preserving your own foods. And guys, our grandparents and our great-grandparents did this year after year, not just because they wanted to, but it was necessary. It was part of their survival. And this is a skill that has been lost by our society. And it's sad because we don't know where our food comes from that we buy at the store. It could be coming from who knows where, sprayed with who knows what. And heaven only knows what that's doing to our bodies, our reproductive systems, our mental states. Who knows? Who knows? But it's much healthier for us. There is a cost savings to it. And it provides you with that skill set that nobody can take away. All right, guys, and that does it for today. I hope you were able to learn a little bit about the quantity that you need to plant and what you can do with just one product and how much money it can save you for a year. And stick with me because, guys, planting season in the ground is coming up in just a few short months. We're going to be actually putting in our brassicas here in just a couple weeks. So stick with me and I will show you all of the gardening that we're doing and all of the updates that we have. So guys, thank you for joining me. Take care and God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.